You think you're being yourself, but you're not. You're performing. Notice what happens when you walk into a room. Before you even speak, something shifts. Your posture changes. Your facial expression adjusts. Your tone becomes slightly different. Not dramatically, just enough. Enough to fit. You don't consciously decide to do this, it happens automatically. Because your brain is constantly scanning. Who's here? What do they expect? What version of me works best in this situation? Around some people, you're more confident. Around others, more careful. Sometimes you become quieter. More agreeable, less confrontational. And in a different setting, you might become sharper. More dominant, more expressive, same person. Different versions, so which one is actually you? What you call yourself is often just the version of you that gets the best response. The version that creates the least resistance. The version that keeps things smooth. You learn, over time, what works, what gets approval, what avoids conflict, and then you adjust. At first, it's subtle. You soften certain opinions, you hold back certain thoughts. You exaggerate certain traits, but small corrections, repeated often enough, become patterns. And patterns become identity. This is where it gets interesting. Because after a while, the performance stops feeling like a performance. It feels natural. You stop noticing it. You start believing that this is just who you are. But if your behavior changes depending on who's watching, then it isn't fixed, it's adaptive, and that means something uncomfortable. It means you're not expressing yourself. You're managing perception. You're constantly adjusting your behavior to control how you are seen, to maintain a certain image, to avoid certain reactions. And again, this isn't something you chose consciously. It's efficient, it works, socially, it's rewarded. The problem is not that you do this. The problem is that you don't realize how much of your behavior is shaped by it, because once you lose awareness, you lose the ability to separate what is actually you from what is simply effective. If you express one opinion here and a different one there, which one do you actually believe? At some point, the line becomes unclear. And when the line becomes unclear, identity becomes unstable. You are no longer acting from a fixed center. You are reacting to context. You become situational. That's why people often say they feel different depending on where they are, or who they're with, because most of what you call yourself is not a stable core. It's a flexible interface, optimized for social survival. The real question is, do you know when you're doing it? Because if you don't, then your entire personality becomes a reflection of your environment. And you never actually confront what you think, what you prefer, or what you believe, outside of social pressure. You never step outside the performance, and if you never step outside it, you never actually find out who you are without it. But the version that remains when there's nothing to manage. And most people avoid that, because without the performance, there's no structure, just you, and that's unfamiliar. So you go back into the role, back into the adjustment, back into the version of you that works, because it's safe, but safe is not the same as real. If everything you do is optimized for response, then nothing you do is fully yours. You're not being yourself. You're performing.